你能不能别一天到晚欧米伽欧米伽的？你恶不恶心？还有，上次你陪我去 X Hotel 那回，你为什么会突然消失？
Shen Wenlang was the kind of man who liked being in control. Smart, powerful, and always sharp with his words, he was not someone people dared to cross. But now, something was gnawing at him. Something he couldn't let go of. He really wanted to know. Who was that damn Omega? It wasn't just curiosity. It was a nagging feeling in his heart. A strange mix of unease and suspicion. That night had been full of odd things. What troubled him the most was the sudden disappearance of Gao Tu, the man who always stuck by his side, the secretary who never left him alone. Why did Gao Tu suddenly vanish? Could it be that Gao Tu and that feverish Omega had plotted against him? Was that the reason Gao Tu had suddenly and hurriedly asked to resign? The thought made Shen Wenlang's chest tighten, but then he shook his head. No, that couldn't be it. If Gao Tu had really conspired with an Omega who was known to sleep around, then resignation would make no sense. He could have used it as a bargaining chip. He could have threatened Shen Wenlang, demanded money or gained power. That's how blackmail worked. But instead, Gao Tu just resigned. He left quietly. No schemes, no demands, just gone. And that was what made Shen Wenlang furious. He thought to himself, that lukewarm, dull idiot. How dare he resign just for a pregnant Omega? Couldn't he even think of blackmail? Didn't he know how to fight for himself? The more Shen Wenlang thought about it, the more his anger burned. It had already been 3 whole days. 3 days since Gao Tu disappeared from his life. The secretariat, HR, everyone in the company was useless. They couldn't even find a simple excuse to delay the resignation. They couldn't buy Shen Wenlang more time. And so, he had no choice but to sit there, helpless, watching as Gao Tu moved away, handing over his work and leaving the company for good. Gone. The head of the secretarial team once joked, Secretary Gao is like the chairman's fire extinguisher. As long as he's around, no matter how angry Shen Wenlang gets, he only takes it out on him. And in a way it was true. Shen Wenlang had a complicated personality. But to outsiders, he wasn't that difficult to get along with. Sharp tongue, harsh words, yes. But his duplicity and temper, he always aimed them at one person. At Gao Tu, colleagues in the secretariat used to say, Mr. Shen always likes to act spoiled with Secretary Gao. When word spread that Gao Tu was leaving, everyone was shocked. They tried their best to persuade him to stay. Secretary Gao, don't leave. CEO Shen values you so much. If I were you, I wouldn't be able to walk away. That's right. If you leave, we'll never see President Shen acting spoiled again. Their words made Gao Tu's lips curve into a helpless smile. But deep down, he was exhausted. His appetite was gone, his spirit low. His face had grown thin, his cheeks hollowed. The man looked haggard. And yet, his colleagues wouldn't stop. One data secretary even cleared her throat and pretended to imitate Shen Wenlang. Gao Tu, I want to drink old white tea, not brewed boiled. You boil it yourself. Everyone burst out laughing. Gao Tu could only shake his head helplessly. What kind of spoiled behavior is that? It's just my job. But the beta secretary wasn't convinced. What do you mean, just your job? That's clearly him acting spoiled with you. And even if that wasn't, what about him asking you to help write his memoirs last time? Memoirs? Yes. You know, like the old-fashioned yearbooks we used to exchange in school. Oh, Gao Tu finally understood. That's not a memoir. That's just a yearbook. Shen and I went to the same school. Same year, different classes. On the day of graduation, something happened at home, so I couldn't attend the ceremony. I never wrote anything in the yearbook. That little revelation shocked his colleagues even more. You two were classmates? Wow, no wonder. Mr. Shen must have been super popular back then. Yeah, Gao Tu replied softly. Because it was true. Shen Wenlang was always dazzling. From their student days until now, he had always been the center of attention, like a diamond shining in the dark. And back then, as now, Gao Tu had played a quiet role in his life. He was the one who helped Shen Wenlang handle love letters, all scented with sweet omega pheromones. Stack after stack, Gao Tu dealt with them silently, standing in the background, watching the person he admired shine brightly. And now, he was walking away. For Shen Wenlang, the anger wasn't just about Gao Tu's resignation. It was about everything behind it. The betrayal he feared, the confusion he couldn't untangle, the loss he didn't want to admit. Because Gao Tu wasn't just a secretary. He wasn't just an employee. He was the one person Shen Wenlang had leaned on, perhaps more than he ever realized. And without him, the CEO's world suddenly felt off balance. But Gao Tu was tired. His colleagues didn't understand. To them, it was simple. Shen was just spoiled with him. It was playful, almost sweet. But for Gao Tu, being by Shen Wenlang's side meant enduring constant sharpness, constant demands, and feelings he could never express. Even now, as he left the company, the memory of their school days lingered. The day he missed graduation, the moment Shen asked him to write something in the yearbook, as though trying to fill in a missing piece. That was Shen Wenlang's way. Sharp on the outside, complicated on the inside. But Gao Tu was leaving all of it behind. The story of Shen Wenlang and Gao Tu is one of tension, unspoken feelings, and misunderstandings. Two men bound together since their youth, one dazzling, one silent. One always demanding, the other always yielding. But in the end, it wasn't betrayal or blackmail or some grand conspiracy that pulled them apart. It was the quiet resignation of a man too tired to stay, and the unspoken realization of another man who only understood what he lost once it was gone. And that's where this part of the story leaves us. Shen Wenlang, full of anger, doubt, and confusion. And Gao Tu, carrying his exhaustion and silently walking away. The distance between them isn't just about resignation. It's about years of misunderstandings, unspoken emotions, and the fragile bond they've shared since their school days. Shen Wenlang, the man who always appeared untouchable, had leaned on Gao Tu far more than he ever realized. And Gao Tu, the quiet, steady presence in his life, finally reached the point where he couldn't endure anymore. Now I want to hear from you. Do you think Shen Wenlang truly values Gao Tu, or is he only realizing it now that he's gone? If you were in Gao Tu's shoes, would you have stayed by Shen's side or walked away, just like he did? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see how you interpret their relationship. And of course, if you enjoyed this breakdown of ABO Desire, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next episode breakdown. Share this video with your friends who love BL and ABO stories as much as you do.